if you go to, we're going to do 4.4 today. So if you go to the, just your Canvas class, 4.4, and we're going to do, go down and get the class demo start file. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. If you want a little bit different, it's going to give you the preview of it, and then just hit use template. That'll make a copy of it for you right inside the sheets. So hopefully it will be easier. That work? Did we all perfect? Okay. Now we've kind of done formulas the last little bit, and we've done some sorting. There's lots of stuff that we've done pretty rapidly. I was hoping we could stretch that out just a little bit. Today we're gonna play some formulas on this one to start off with. So let's do, this is a, we're gonna figure out all the withholding. So when any of you work, you have taxes that come out of your paycheck. So you get federal tax, Social Security tax, and state tax that they hold out. So we're gonna figure out the tax withholdings from this gross pay with these individuals' names. Okay, so let's figure out a formula. Let's go to E6, and let's figure out a formula to take our gross pay times our 15%. So we're going to take 15% of that $340. So rather than ask you, we're just going to do equals. Let's hit your equal sign. We're going to hit D6. Just click right on D6. Then we're going to times that. So hit your times keys over the number 9 on your numbers keyboard. And then we're going to click on C14, 15%. That's how we got to do it. Then hit enter. So that's going to give us $51, which you should have ended up with. Now it's asking us if we want to autofill this down. You know how you take that fill handle and drag it down? Did you guys get the autofill automatically? Just say, you want to do this? It kind of guesses. Go ahead and hit the check mark. I hope I missed it. You hit the check mark and say yes, or you can click on the $51 and grab your fill handle. It's that little dark black box on the bottom right. Grab that fill handle and drag that down. That'll fill that in. Do you see anything wrong with that? What's wrong? Where's what? You're timesing it by C14. So D6 times C14. Why did I end up, did this work for everybody? Did you guys get that? Did you get all the zeros? Why did we get zeros down there? We can figure that out. Why do we get the zeros? Any idea? Landon, you got ideas? Clue? You guys got to figure this out. Think about it. Look at your formulas. What's different about it? There's something wrong with it. There's a problem with it that it did that. Think about what the fill handle does when you copy that down. Yeah, so these last four are wrong. Yeah, but why? You know why?
It's because it kept going down. So like the second one down is times by the 7.65, and then the next one down is times by 9.25, and then the last one's times by nothing.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly. So did you get that? So this one was times by this one. When we drag down, it drags down over here. So now this one, this 1953 is up by 7.65%. The next one's by this. Well, this 0 is down on this blank down here. So that's not working. So if I click on, watch what happens. If you click on E6, see I'm on C, well, I want C14. I'm on D6. What do I want? No, C14. Mark C14 right there. So now if I arrow down, it goes from C14, C15, C16, C17, C18. So it's working its way, as it's copying down here, it's working its way down here. So we need to lock in that cell, right? So let's lock that in. Let me show you how to do that. So click on the $51 again. And this time, just go up on your, where it says FX, just click up in that box, just to put your cursor in there. I just want to show you that you can do that. You can also double click down here for your C14. So just click in your box up here. Now you're going to hit your F4 key. Your F4 key is at the very top of your keyboard. It just says F4. Hit your F4, and it should give you two dollar symbols. The dollar symbol in front of the C, the dollar symbol in front of the 14. Does it do that? then hit your enter key. Nothing's gonna change. But now go back to your 51, and then use your fill handle and fill that in again. So drag that down and fill that in. You see what it did that time? What those dollar symbols does, that's called an absolute cell reference, and it makes your reference, or the cell that you're referring to, it makes it absolute, it locks that in. So now when I arrow down, you'll see that C14 stays the same on all of them. Cool, right? Okay, should we do it again? Let's do it again. Let's do Social Security tax withholding. So go to F6, hit your equal sign. Then we're going to do the gross pay, the 340, so D6 times, this time we're going to do 7.65%. Now don't hit enter yet, because what do I want to do now at this point? What key am I going to hit? What did we hit? F, shout it out. F4, thank you. We're going to hit F4. So hit your F4 key. That turns on your absolute values, and then hit enter. And then it wants you to autofill, and it guesses, so you can hit yes, you can hit check mark and hit yes, and it'll autofill for you, or you can grab the autofill button and drag that down. Okay? It'll work? Okay. Go ahead and try it on the last one. I'll walk you through it if you need to. Let's do state tax withholding. So equals D6 times C16. We're going to lock that C16 in, so we're going to hit F4, and then just hit enter. And then autofill that. Okay, did it work? I'm crazy, right? Okay, let's figure out the net pay. How do I figure out the net pay? It's going to be gross pay minus all these others. So I'm just going to do equals, and don't type in numbers, or you don't have to type in the cells, you can click on it. So equals, then I'm just going to do D6, so the 340, and then minus 51, minus 26, minus 31. I just did the numbers, sorry, I did the numbers across the... And you could put that, I could add all of these together, so I could do that in brackets. I could put like D6 minus, and then brackets, and add those three together, and that would be the same thing. It doesn't really matter the formula that you put in there. So I'm going to hit enter, and then it's going to autofill that, and then you're good to go. That makes sense? If you didn't get that, then I'll walk around and I'll help you out when we're done with that. Because you want to get that absolute reference. Okay, let's go to conditional formatting. Let's do that tab down in the bottom middle. Now what conditional formatting does is if you had, say this is a huge form, and you wanted to figure out, you wanted to be able to look at it and see like a specific, like something that stands out to you. Like I want to see who made the most money or who got the highest GPA or whatever. I just want to look at it super quick and do that. That's what conditional formatting does. So like on this number 10, this line 10, we're going to do age greater than or equal to 24. So we're going to look at all these ages here, and we're going to find out quickly which ones are above 24. Okay, so to do that, let's highlight the ages. So highlight from 49 down to 17. And then we're going to go up to Format, and then one called Conditional Formatting. It's almost to the bottom. So Format, Conditional Formatting. That's going to open up this conditional format rules. We're going to set some rules to give us certain colors. You notice it all went default to this green color. Well, we wanted to only show green if it's greater than or equal to 24. So to set a rule, over here, we've got our range selected. We're going to do format cells. You can say if it's not empty, I want to do that. We want to do text is exactly. So hit that arrow down and do text is exactly. I think we can do a number on that one. Actually, no, that's not what we want to text. We want to go down. Go down and we're going to do greater than or equal to. So we're going to go down farther. It says greater than or equal to. Did you find that? So do greater than or equal to. And then what's our value gonna be? What's our number gonna be? Shout it out. 24, thank you. And that was a little more interactive. So 24. So I'm gonna put 24 in that, and then just hit done. And if I click off, you'll see anything that's 24 or above is highlighted green. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it with Miracle Whip and Mayo. You guys have a preference? Either?
Miracle
Stay
Whip.
with Miracle Whip and Mayo.
I don't mind.
I love Miracle Whip.
When I select multiple boxes, it changes the boxes to the one selected.
What do you mean?
Like,
That fill handle will copy whatever you've done. Yeah. Okay, let's do the same thing. So our conditional format rules are still open. You notice if I click on the green, you don't have to do this. If I click on the green, it's going to show me the rule that I made for that column. So over here, the miracle down to miracle, it's going to say add another rule. We're just going to add another rule. Otherwise, you could go back up to format and conditional formatting and find that again. This time our rule is going to be, if it's Mayo, I want it to be red filled with a white font. So this one I'm going to say format the cells if the text is exactly. And if you wanted to say text contains, if I just did like MA, then it would find it. But we're going to do text is exactly. So text is exactly. What's my value going to be? Mayo, right? So I'm going to put Mayo. But now I need a red fill with a white font. So if I go down a little bit, we're underneath where it says default, there's my fill bucket. I'm going to change that to red. And then I'm going to make my text color, which is the next one to the left of the fill bucket, I'm going to make that white. And then hit done. So now everything that was Mayo is going to be that red fill. Now what's cool is if I change any of these, like let's say the green one, if I change this one, like from 25, if I did like 16 or whatever, then it's going to change that to whatever that condition happens to be. The same thing with this. If I change this to miracle, you get the idea though. Then it's going to change that to blank. If it's white, you're not going to see it because it's white, right? Yeah.
Does miracle have to be capitalized when you do that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. So I did that one in caps lock and I did it. Yeah, so I don't think it's cap. Case sensitive. Yeah, good question. So let's do married and single. So we're going to highlight married down to single, this column. And we want to see if they're married, I want it to be a purple field with a white font and bold. Okay, so see if you can do that. So I'm going to click on add another rule. Then I'm going to do exactly, text is exactly. And this one I want to be, what, married. And I want purple fill, white font, and bold. And then just click done. Easy enough? Did you get that to do that? Okay. One last one. This one we're going to do a gradient fill bar. Gradient bar fill. So let's do bank account. Highlight bank account. So just all of your amounts on the bank account. Add another rule. This time on the top where it says single color, we're going to play with single color. Go over to color scale. Click on color scale. What color scale does is it gives you a range of colors. And so depending on the numbers in that range, we'll assign a shade of color. So right now we're doing some green to white. So the lowest numbers are going to be a dark green, the highest numbers are gonna be pretty much white. We wanna change those colors. We wanna go from an orange to a red. So over here, all we have to do is our minimum value, we're gonna make that red, and then our max value, we're gonna make that orange. So on min value, change the fill, and you can pick the red to a red. Max value, I'm gonna pick an orange. Dark orange. And it'll figure out the shading in between those two. Okay, and then hit done. So that just gives you the deep red ones, or we probably should have changed the font color to white on that too. So we've got like the dark red ones are the lower numbers, and then the brighter orange ones are the highest numbers. Just something that to make it visual so that you can see it quickly what you're looking for. Questions? We doing good? Keeping up? It's gonna get crazy. Save the best for last. Or the worst for last. I shouldn't say that, right? The teacher should be like, this is the best, this is the coolest ever. This is cool stuff, but it gets a little crazy. So click down on if statement on the bottom right. This will be the last one we're going to talk about today. So an if statement, so in conditional formatting we said, okay, if they're married, we want it this color. If it's above this amount or whatever, if it's male, we want it this color. So we're going to kind of do the same thing with an if statement, except an if statement means that it's going to give you something else. So we're going to say, if it's this, then there's a true statement and a false statement. So I'm going to look at GPAs. So it's going to say, if the GPA, no, it's up here. The GPA is above 3.6, I want this to happen. So we're going to look at all the GPAs. We're going to say, okay, if the GPA is above 3.6, then I want it to say, if it's true, I want it to say honor roll. If it's false, I don't want it to do anything. So under met requirements, if it says 3.8, right here it's going to say honor roll. If it says 3.5, that's under 3.6, right? So this is going to be blank. So an if statement always has a formula that has a true, what happens if it's true, and then it's what happens when it's false. Makes sense? We're going to get into a little programming type stuff there. So we'll start with the GPA one. Let's click in C3. Here we go. Okay, so click on C3. We're going to hit, let's hit equals. Actually, let's go over to our, you can close conditional format rows. Let's close that out to give us to stretch out our toolbar. Let's go over to the formulas. I just want to show you where the formula is. You can actually, we're going to type this in eventually, but I want to show you where the formula is. So click down your epsilon E, I don't know what that E is. Click down the little letter E. Go clear down to logical. And then there's one called if. Okay, click on if. Did you guys get this box? If you didn't get the box, there's a little question mark right next to the, click on that question mark and that should open this box. That kind of walks you through what we're going to do with our logical expression or whatever. Okay, so the first value, it's in green, it says logical expression. So what's your parameters? What question are you asking them? So we want to ask it if it's greater than a 3.6. Okay, so we're going to just type in, we're going to click on B3. So we want to say if B3 is what? Is greater than. So find the greater than symbol, it's above the period on your keyboard. We want greater than what? 3.6, right? So B3 is greater than 3.6, that's our question. Now hit the comma. And now it's telling us what's the value if it's true. So what do we want it to do if it's true? What does it say we want to do? What do we want it to say? Honor roll, right? We want to say honor roll. Now, whenever you do text, you have to do text inside of quotes. It's kind of a programming thing. That lets Sheets know that it's actual text. It's not like a formula or something you're doing. So hit the quotes. I'm going to type in honor roll with quotes again. Then I'm going to hit the comma again. The comma is going to give me to my false. So now notice it went to the green down here, value of false. So what do I want to do if it's false? I just want to leave it blank. So to do something blank, you just hit quotes twice. So just do quotes. That's just an open and closed quotes, and there's nothing in between it, so it's just going to be blank. Okay, now hit your enter key. Okay, then you can autofill that down if it wants to do it for you, or you can drag the autofill and pull that down. So I figured it out. The 3.8 is on a roll, 3.7, 4.0 is on a roll. But 3.5 and 3.0 are not. Now if I change this, like let's say if I change that to a 3.7, then it's going to flip that to an honor roll. Okay. Now if I wanted to too, let's say that is 3.6, I could change this too if I wanted to say if it's greater than or equals to 3.6, I could put an equal sign in there, and then it would pick up a 3.6. If I fill that down, it picks up the 3.6. I had a student last class that said, well, why don't you do this? I could just go in and type in. I can see that that's an honor roll. I can see that. Why don't you just type that in? Well, that's not bad when you have 6 students. How many students do we have at Weaver? Yeah, we're pushing high to 2,000s. So if you had this, let's say you had a whole list of sophomores even, that's almost 800 students. You got 800 students in here. I would want to do this, and they actually do this, and they post it like an honor roll out on the board. So that they have to sort. So once you did this, you could do all the honor rolls, and you could sort it by column C. And you put all the honor rolls together. Then you can just copy and paste those names into a Word document, or you can just print those out. So that would be the time-saving issue of it. Okay, we'll try it again. We're going to do it 2 more times. Okay, let's go down to C13. So C13, we're going to do a bonus. So these are guys that work, or people that work, and they go out and sell stuff. If they reach a certain level, if they sell so much stuff, then they get a percentage bonus. So we're going to find out if these guys earned a bonus or not. So that's the first one. We're at an if statement. If in C13, which is where we are. If the salesperson's total sales were above the target sales, it'll say bonus. So if their sales were above 50,000, then we want it to say bonus. If it's not, then it stays blank. We're going to do it like the GPA one. So we know this one right here should be blank, right, when we're done. This one should say bonus, this one should say bonus, just by eyeballing it. So let's do the formula. This time let's just hit the equal sign and just type in if, just hit if. And then do your open parentheses, and that should pull up the assistant. If not, then hit your check mark, or hit your question mark. So our logical expression, what's that going to be? We're going to say if B13, so I'm going to do if, so B13, so I'm going to click on that actually. So B13 is what? Greater than what? Yeah, but don't type in 50,000. So you always want to click on it. Don't ever type the numbers in, because if 50,000 never changes, then it screws up your this. So make sure you click on B18. So if B13 is greater than B18, now before I go any further, what do I need to do to that one? What did we learn today? What do I need to do to this B18? I got to F4 that. I need to F4 that, so lock that in. So that when I fill this down, it doesn't go anywhere else, because it's just, we want it to refer to that cell every time. And if I hit, watch this, if I hit F4 again, it'll change it to just the 18. If I hit it again, it changes it just to the B. So you can lock either just a whole row or a whole column too. But we're locking the cell. So we want that dollar sign in front of both the row and the column. So I'm just going to, it just toggles through. Okay, so we got B13 is greater than B18. We're going to put a comma in that, right? Now what if I want, if it's true, what is it going to say? Bonus. How do I type out bonus? What do I need to do to bonus? The quotation marks. So we got to put those in quotes. and then comma again, and I'm gonna do my false. Which false gonna be, it's blank, so what do I do with that? Double quotations. And then close your, just a close parentheses, and then enter it. Now it's weird because our first one's blank. So just click on that one, click on your blank one, it's there. It shows our formula, it didn't give us any errors. And then I'm just gonna fill that down, just drag that down to
Save on 50.
yeah. So now I've got bonus for those second two. Okay, that work? Do some nods. Crazy, right? You know, I'll come and help out if it doesn't. If you didn't get it, then let's just go to the next one, last one. So this time we're gonna do D13. If it's above the target cells, so if they get it above this, then they get a 3% bonus. So we're actually gonna do two formulas on this one. This is as deep as we're gonna get. So if it's above 50%, or above 50,000, then they get 3%. So this guy's not gonna get a bonus, they're gonna get 3% of whatever that is. And that's, we're gonna have a number amount in that. And then if it's based on their total cells, if the total cells are not above the target cells, then it should just read what their total cells are. Okay, so let's click on D13. You know, I think the hardest part about this is it's kind of like a story problem in math. You got to figure out what they're asking, like what do they really want, and you got to figure out how that's the math formula that you're going to use. So let's do an equal sign on this one, and do if with your open parentheses. So first we got to figure out if they get a bonus or not. So we're actually going to put in the formula there if they have a bonus or not. So remember that we're going to use the exact same formula. So we're going to do if their total cells is greater than their target cells. So we're going to do B13 is greater than target cells. What do I need to do to that? F4 that, so it locks it in. So that's just my question. If it's over that 50,000, then for true, they get a percentage. If it's false, they don't get anything. So that's my question, if they're going to get a bonus or not. So now do your comma. Now before we did text, this time we're going to actually put another formula in there. If it's true, we want to give them a 3% bonus. So how do I figure out a 3% bonus? If they make this much money, how am I going to figure out a 3% bonus? Just times it, right? Yeah, don't get too deep, don't think too hard. So I'm just going to take the total cells times 3%. So this time I'm going to take B13 times, and I'm going to do B17. What do I need to do with B17 again? I'm going to have 4 that I got to lock that in, so I did have 4. So that's the value if it's true. And then if it's false, I just want to leave it blank. We're just going to leave, they don't just get a bonus on that. So we're just going to leave it blank, so we're just going to hit the quotes twice. And then close that up. Okay? Go ahead and hit enter if you, I just leave that on the screen so people look at it. Go ahead, hit enter. Now the first one was blank, it asked me to autofill, or you need your fill handle. And then you're going to see how much of a bonus they got. So they did get a bonus. So then for the true statement, it times the 3% times that and give us how much they're going to get. And then the same with this bottom one too. So the cool part is, let's say next quarter this guy makes more money. I could just come back in here, or you could have quarter 1, quarter 2, and if I did 50, let's do like 62,000, then it figures everything out. He gets a bonus, and this is how much he's going to get. Or if I change, let's say the target cells was 54,000, so this guy just missed it. If I take this and do this 54,000, hit enter. Now this guy no longer gets a bonus, and these guys adjust their bonus according to how much they get. Okay, that's why you always use the cells rather than typing in an actual number, so that if those numbers ever change. Is that crazy? Do you feel like programmers today? That's crazy, right? Super cool though. So as you're working through, you're going to work through your assignment, you're going to do the exact same thing we just did today with absolute cells, these three things. As you work through it, and grab me if you have any questions with it as you're